were there.
I was not there. Check the record. Wait now. I was not there.
To the voices of the people.
We are suffering. This suffering is too much. It's too much. Look at the students. There's no job. They're feeling too. There's no job for them.
We analyze the undercurrents, expose the intrigues, and break down the narratives that define our democracy. Dr. Tony Olisa Mbeki delivering razor-sharp analysis, and Ebuka Franklin and Chisom on the question wheel, driving the conversation. We bring you the most compelling discussions on governance, policies, and power plays. Stay informed, stay engaged, stay ahead. The Polity, every weekdays at 9:15 a.m. Exclusive on Udala 104.7 FM Onitsha.
Was quite an interesting weekend in Anambra State and indeed across Nigeria, especially in the political scenery with that opposition summit that happened in Ibadan over the weekend. And of course here in Anambra State, it was, I'll say, two standout incidents. First, between people who had gathered in a place to have an event. They call them the Kegites, and how according to some reports the gathering became noisy and the owner of the facility called on Agunechemba Operatives to come control or maybe take charge of the situation, and the crowd was dispersed, and that particular incident has given rise to debates about misuse or abuse of security officials, and I'd say local security officials in this capacity, and the debate about the propriety and possible abuse of state police being a problem, you know, with this whole argument about bringing on state police and all of that has also resurfaced. Also over the weekend, I'd call it a political tussle. Do I call it now a power block tussle that led to Agunechemba officials also being at the center of a conflict? We'll make sense of that as the conversation continues on this edition of The Polity. Good morning to you and welcome. I am Chisom Chinedu. Franklin Ibuka is here. Good morning, Frank.
Good morning, Chisom. Good morning to everybody listening to us. Of course, a new week for us to look at developments in the polity. And Chisom began from the home front, talking about Anambra State, where The weekend was packed, I must say. And when I say packed, I mean there are a couple of things that happened in Anambra State between Friday and Sunday. And we'll begin with one of them, which was what happened at Chukwemeka Odumegwu University, where the governor, who is the visitor to university, announced a scholarship for 36 students who backed first class in their first degree. And he said the state is going to sponsor their scholarship for masters and the PhD in any university in Nigeria. At the same time, or at that same event, the governor also announced the renaming of Uli campus of Chukwemeka Odumegwu University after former governor Onitsha. So if you go to Uli from now, Uli campus of Kou is now known as Onitsha campus. That's what we or that's the high point of the 16th convocation ceremony of Chukwemeka Odumegwu University that happened between Thursday. It happened Thursday, Friday, and then Saturday was the high point of it. Then talk about another development in Anambra State where Zenko donated the 10 vehicles for security operations in Anambra State. I want to talk about Zenko. Talk about Mr. Cletus Uzeizie Oragwa, who is the CEO of the Zenko Group. He donated 10 vehicles for security operations in Anambra State. He was at government house where that donation was made, and governor was able to recognize him, saying that is the kind of thing that he needs. He needs people of Anambra State to join in the efforts to ensure that there is security in Anambra State. And guess the vehicle he presented. This vehicle known as a 4x4 Hilux truck. That's what he presented. So I do not know whether they have some security features or not, but from what we saw, all these are clean vehicles that can be used for security operations. Then he mentioned the supremacy battle between Stanley Walker, who is the chairman of the idemili North Local Government Area, and the Fanny Basin. Interestingly, two of them are from the same town, Abatete in idemili Local Government Area of Anambra State. And the Fanny Basin was supposed to have a stakeholders meeting at Nkwabaja. And the next thing we saw was a statement coming from the mayor of idemili North saying that stakeholders meeting would not go on because there were no consultations. In fact, he even cited security concerns at Nkwabaja and plenty of things he said. But guess what? On Sunday morning, when he basically went to the venue, at least to go and see things and inspect the preparations, he and his entourage met resistance from security operatives who were said to members of Agunechemba. And from what we gathered, in the ensuing melee, 2 policemen were shot, and they are receiving treatment now. In fact, a lot has happened from since that moment till now. By the time we go into the conversation, of course, we get to bring out other things that have emanated. Then talk about what happened at Oka at Picasty Hotel, where operatives of Agunechemba disrupted Kegite club gathering. I do not know what the problem was, but from what I gathered, should I call that some blocks in Kegite? They were trying to have a new leadership or have a new block in Oka. But if there was anything violent, or if there was any kind of suspicion about clandestine activities that brought men of Udogachi to go there and disrupt it in the manner they did, I do not know. And I keep on asking myself, if there was anything untoward that happened there, the manner they did it, was it the best way to have gone there to disrupt such an event where I saw them hitting people with plank and threatening to shoot? I do not know why we have refused to learn on how to be civil when it comes to dealing with issues, whether it's a security breach or not. Of course, we saw what happened in the US, where a gunman came for a dinner that the president was having with a correspondent. We saw how everything happened. I don't know the number of persons who were handled in that very situation. So I think it's a lesson for us to learn, if actually we want to learn and grow in this very country.
All right, then Dr. Tony Olisampeki is here as well to make sense of all of these developments. Good morning, Tony.
Good morning, Chisom Chinede. Good morning, Nigerians. Good morning, the good people of Southeast. Good morning, in the Anambra. Good morning, in the Onitsha. Good morning, in the Osumo. Good morning, in the Afia, in the Oluaka, in the Nkoze, in the Olungo. The people you call Olungo, the contractors who are executing different projects in our states. We have to acknowledge them. We also have to acknowledge the farmers and also those in the riverine area, the fishermen and women. Also those who are doing petty trading, petty traders. If you go to Ochanja Axis, Iweka by Iweka, you see petty traders bringing their goods on the road, taking some portions of the road. Repeatedly they have been warned, you don't bring these things close to the road. Still trading. Sometimes there was a time there was these demarcations that were built to let them know where they will stay, but they will never hit to that. They feel that by bringing their goods on the road, blocking passage, that's when they will sell. It's very appalling. I think I drove somewhere close to that Ochanja Aziz by Amobi, Mbanefo, MOD area. You see what is going on. Yeah, I think that's Zix Avenue, if I'm so correct. Zix Avenue that leads to the Township Stadium in Onitsha South. That's very, very bad. So our petty traders, please, desist from putting their goods on the road. And I also understand it's something around territory access. And you will self be inviting Ocha Brigade. The next you will say Ocha Brigade has done this, has done that. They have put off your goods, they have thrown this. Most times you don't call to these things. But that's by the way. We have to thank God Almighty for another week. Just like I always say, every day is a miracle. We are back in the sanctuary of the Most High to profess the truth, to proclaim the truth, and also to do our evangelical work. This is our altar, this is our sanctuary. That's where we are. We thank everyone for being part of this program. We thank God for blessing this very day. And this week shall be a week that all of us will smile. We'll have something to smile. You're welcome. Sit back and enjoy the program.
All right, then we are going to start off by telling you what the front pages of the papers say, and right after that, we'll dive into the conversation proper. On our table today, we have the Nation newspaper, we have the Guardian, Punch, and Daily Sun, and we are going to start off with the Guardian newspaper. And of course, the banner headline on the Guardian is Banks Grapple with Asset Quality Validation Tests after 4.65 trillion naira capital. The story is on page 6 of the Guardian newspaper. NCAA raises concern over domestic airlines service failures on page 3. NDC offers Obi Kwankwaso joint presidential ticket on page 3. APC crisis festers as 5 states face exclusion from primaries convention on page 3 as well. Ground handlers may suspend operations over airlines' 9 billion naira debts on page 5. Alleged school plot. Detained colonel sues FG, demands 500 million naira damages on page 8. Backlash over Lausa's standing social science courses amid widening job crisis on page 5. LASG signs power purchase agreements with 3 IPP firms on page 7. Serap NGE sue NBC over threat to sanction broadcasters on page 5. 2027 group predicts APC likely to lose in Nasarawa on page 2. Cracks hurdles in united opposition and APC strategic edge ahead of 2027 on page 6. Finally, Police Smart raises 13 billion naira for commercial paper to improve industrial agenda on page 14.
Okay, so let's go over to the Guardian newspaper. And the biggest story there is on page 6. It says banks grapple with asset quality validation test after 4.64 trillion naira capital. It should be on the Punch newspaper. Sorry. We're beginning with this headline that says Ibadan meeting PDP ADC blocks reject joint presidential ticket on page 2. PDP ADC blocks reject joint presidential ticket on page 2. It has riders Wetie Camp, Atiku, Mark misled by impostors. Kachuku ADC faction LP disown meeting. APC questions Makinde's fitness for office after Operation Wetie comments. We now move to the headline beside the nameplate. It says primaries, how power struggles threaten Ondo APC unity. You see the picture of the Minister of Interior Tunji Ojo, and then the governor of Davao State, Ayeda Tewa. Of course, everybody's struggling to see who is going to control the structure in Davao State. NNPC refineries will never work again. Obasanjo. That story is on page 38. Another headline says fuel price hike. Airlines plan Thursday shutdown. The story is on page 30. Atiku once again suspending campaigns in Borno, Benue, authors. The story is on page 44. I think he's responding to what was suggested on the floor of the Senate, that campaigns should be suspended in states that have been having serious self-security issues. INEC Gabam recognition sparks fresh SDP row on page 44. Why OAU declined venue for P2B lecture management. The story is on page 8. The management is saying that they didn't get notice on time, that they needed to have been informed early enough for them to make an arrangement for security and inform all stakeholders who needed to be informed to ensure that orderliness was maintained in the area. And the headline says another UK-based Nigerian found dead at workplace. The story is on page 4 of the Punch newspaper. These are the headlines on this paper this morning.
All right, then let's go over to the next one on our desk, and that will be the This Day newspaper. All right. Okay, Nation newspaper. Right. Okay, let's take a look at the Nation newspaper now and see what stories are here. Last I checked, lots of advertorials, and we have some stories regardless. Wetie, more knocks with Makinde on page 2. Stock market targets 25 trillion naira turnover with expanded window on page 13. Stakeholders, Jet A1 crisis 13th 2026, Hajj, page 3. Peter B. Kwankwaso, weighing offer from NDC on page 3. Sule's gamble, APC imminent loss in Nasarawa, page 11. And the rest is a press statement by the Kwara State government on the trial of Senator Saraki and others in respect of the robbery incident.
Okay, so over to Daily Sun newspaper. The big story there says 2027 NDC offers Obi Kwankwaso joint ticket. That story is on page 6 with a rider. Gives Duo a 2-week window to join party, be it presidential, vice presidential candidate. PDP factions clash over Makinde's Ibadan speech. That story is on page 8. That very speech is actually getting so much reactions. No thanks to the memories he tried to relive. Then CBN tightens news. Mops up 2.8 trillion naira from banks. Moves to stabilize FX markets as demand rises. Another headline says Lagos governorship race intensifies. Aspirant jostle for endorsement. That story is on page 27. It seems like the deputy governor of Lagos State, Hamzat, is the one favored to replace Songolu by the time his tenure ends. No fresh tax on vehicles. FG on page 25. Fuel price hike feared as Trump cancels second Iran meeting. That story can be seen on page 21. And the writer says marketers fret. Varsity VC laments high rate of ritualists in Nigeria. One student. That story can be found on page 25 of Daily Sun. And with that, we conclude the headlines on the front pages of the 4 newspapers we brought to you this very morning.
All right, then let's go into the conversation proper. But just to remind you, we are live on Facebook. Udala Radio 104.7 FM is our handle. Drop your comment right under the video of this show. So we are going to be starting from home. We're starting with what happened over the weekend, where we have a report of APGA reps aspirant and the local government chairman trading blames over a gunshot incident. It happened yesterday morning when the House aspirant, a House of Representative aspirant under the All Progressives Grand Alliance, Ifeanyi Bezim, was reportedly attacked by thugs over a stakeholders meeting at Abaja Abatete, idemili North local government area of Anambra State, leaving 2 of his security aides with gunshot injuries. Ibezi, who seeks to represent idemili North and South federal constituencies, said the incident occurred at a community civic center where he had scheduled a stakeholders meeting as part of his consultations ahead of the next general elections. Now, according to reports, Tony, we understand Ibezi is alleging an assassination attempt. All of these supposedly being because the local government chairman of Idemili North, Chief Stanley Nkwoka, tried to stop his stakeholders meeting on grounds of loyalty, and so he didn't want him engaging with stakeholders in a bid to, would I say, cut short his influence, because he has his interests on another candidate. And I am curious to find out first your side, what you've heard about this story, if it confirms what is out there in the media, because I trust you to always do your own personal findings. Because from my own side, I mean, this is all that there is about this story. There have been other things I am not going to be spilling at least not yet. But then let's also look at the involvement of Agunechemba officials in disputes like this, because I mean, this is clearly, from all indications and from everything out there in the news, a case of intended intimidation, all right? And unfortunately, the same people who should not be involved are the same people involved, speaking about Agunechemba. So what do you make of this development?
Well, we saw the developments ourselves, and we saw how it transpired. Social media was awash with different updates as far as that issue is concerned. And if you ask me, what's my take? I have to look at it from different angles. But one thing for sure is that it's their internal family affairs. Because Abga will tell you it's a family thing. But it has become a public threat. What you call a public breach of peace and order. Is no more family thing as one could have assumed it to be. It has spiraled into public debate, public accountability, public orderliness, and also public conduct, especially where some states apparatus are deployed in entire melee. First and foremost, I understand that it's a political rivalry between Nkwoka and when you talk about Nkwoka is the local government chairman, what we know very well based on Anambra law as mayor. Ibezim is also a big stakeholder as far as All Progressives Grand Alliance is concerned. For sure, he has been in politics for a very long time, as far back as 2013, where he moved from the defunct, was it 2013 or around 2012? It was around 2012. He moved from ACN then to ABGA. I think the first election he ran under the platform of ACN. But he moved to ABGA. I'm talking about Ibezim. And he has been in ABGA until he left. Prior to 2023 general elections. But before then, let's be honest. Let's talk about the issue. Yes. What happened yesterday, or even before yesterday, was as a result of the tension that has been built over time between these two men. And I recall very well that there was a time I had conversation with Honorable Fanyi Bezimi. We were just talking, and he was telling me that the local government chairman has been giving him some toxic environment, so if in achieve whatever political aim he has. Many of them are not happy that he came back to ABGA. Many, according to what he told me, that many of them are not happy. Before now, the honest truth is, he used to be the political leader of ABGA in Idemili North, Idemili South. And when he defected to APC, where he ran for the office of the Federal House, Idemili North, Idemili South, on the platform of APC. Remember the candidate of Labour to that election, Annie Okonkwo, the son, won that very seat. Nevertheless, he has since moved back to ABGA. Of course, he had his reasons for why he left ABGA. But he was also asked to come back to the party that got him to the National Assembly, because he won on the platform of ABGA, but was removed by courts and replaced with Obinna Chidoka of PDP as at that time. Now he wanted to declare his ambition before idemili stakeholders, because this time around we're going to talk about idemili North, idemili South. Stakeholders from the two parties were invited, from the two local governments were invited, those of ABGA extraction. Exactly what many have been doing. I have seen people declaring their ambition, declaring their interests at different places at different times, but he chose to declare his own ambition at his home country home. I think Abuja is in a Batete. But look at the politics there. The politics started. You did not tell the local government chairman of the ABGA, who is also assumed to be the leader of the party in idemili North. And you did not also tell the local government chairman of ABGA in idemili South, who is also assumed to be the leader of the party there. But for him, he is not tied to any of these protocols. He can decide to invite whoever he wishes to invite.
Does he have the constitutional right to have whatever stakeholders meeting without telling any of these local government
He
chairmen?
has no reason or business to tell them. If he wishes to tell them, it will be as a matter of respect, or maybe they are part and partners in the
So
project.
he has every constitutional right to convene any meeting without
Definitely. And if you look around, the young man, the local government chairman, has not spoken. He hasn't spoken. Why is he under any? The point is, I'm just here to reel out the fact. We are here to profess the truth and talk about constitutionality. The truth remains that under the provisions of our law, he has every right, he has freedom of assembly, as we have in the Constitution. And let me say this. When I was saying that local government chairmen, if they are not supervised by the state, these people will become unbearable. People do not understand me. I did say it many times that for those who were championing that they should be autonomous in every ramification, is this what we're going to see? It's not a good development. But one thing I'm for sure is that the young man, the local government chairman, may not be acting alone. There could be those who are pushing him to do what he's doing. But the question is, who are these people? The point remains that if Ifeanyi Bezin were to be of APC, or if he were to be of any other political party outside ABGA, does it mean that he cannot call such a stakeholder meeting and make his intention known to the people? Don't use security breaches or security this, security that to cause any form of problem. The point is, it's a battle, it's a supremacy battle. There we have those who are saying that the young man, the local government chairman, is aligned to Iyebu Ikenna or something like that.
Ikenna.
Of course, that is aligned to him, the young man from Oba. That's his preferred candidate. I listened to the governor at the Southeast Stakeholders meeting. The point he made at that meeting was that the ground will be level for everybody. That is going to be ownership, it's going to be grassroots, it's going to be those at the grassroots that are going to make the decisions. That no party official, no anybody appointed, elected under any platform will have any stake or have any decision to make.
So Tony, give me a second. Let's get down to the crux of the matter here. One, abuse of, what do I call it now, security apparatus. Because having Agunechemba officials go to whatever it is happening to constitute nuisance is an abuse of Agunechemba rather, as a security apparatus in the state. And now this is at a critical time where we are calling for state police, not just in Anambra, but across Nigeria, to tackle our very peculiar security challenges. Now put this side by side with the arguments of people who have often argued that when we have state police, it is going to be abused, and as a matter of fact, we are not ripe for it. Now, incidents like this would simply make good their claim. And so I am curious to find out, when such abuse happens, what should happen by way of checks and balancing?
The truth is that if you say Agunechemba, the way and manner they do the operation, you talk about those who manage Agunechemba, they are being managed. And of course, many of them, I've said it many times, have not come up, especially when it comes to education, which is also necessary, because there are times you may be asked to do this. You remind the person asking you that within your jurisdiction, look at the scope of your work. We've seen that. But if the person decides to sack you for the fact of not obeying his order, you let him know that I cannot obey unlawful order. For me, what happened at that very area was purely unlawful order. And many of these people, they are not really exposed to understand which one is lawful and unlawful. But I know very well during their training they were told that their major primary responsibility is to protect the public and ensure that the armed robbers and these people, they are taken out of the roads, taken out of our streets, taken out of our homes and even the environment. But if you look at it, these people were led by a PA to the local government chairman. What does that mean? And the PA cannot come at that very place without the imprimatur, without the local government chairman asking him to do it. And Agunechemba, they are at the local government level.
No, I am asking you about consequences.
Definitely. Everyone has called on the governor to step into this crisis and also ensure that discipline and at the same time a lot of things are done. The local government chairman or mayor, they don't have immunity because we expect Nigerian police to do their own take, especially the policemen that were wounded. You don't come to a place and start firing gun. For me, it risks, just like you said, abuse of power. And I cannot just sit down here and say all is well. No. But the most important thing is that the local government chairman abused Agunechemba because these people were under his control and he found the need to deploy them to whatever operations outside their jurisdiction. You don't come up with any security threat, security breach. You have done the security assessment as when Anambra State is very secure.
Okay,
Anambra is secure.
Tony, let me add more to what you have said because you've been able to establish that what happened at Nkwabaja was a clear power tussle because in Abatete, within the ABGA structure, there are two blocks, so to say. One block aligned with the idemili local government chairman and then the other block aligned with Ifeanyi Bezi. Ifeanyi Bezi has the grassroots more compared to the other block. The other block has the other block has the likes of the immediate party commissioner for information and Anambra State, Dr. Lomefo, High Chief Tochumeto, the CEO of this World of Blue Hotel in Oka. So we have these two blocks, and because Ibezi has joined the race, of course, trying to contest, everybody's trying to protect their own territory to ensure that they get to outwit the other by the time they go to the primary. In fact, if you watched what happened in Abatete during the World Congresses, not World Congresses, that time that they had primary for councillors and what have you not. If you watch closely what happened there, you would have noticed that poor tussle in that very place. Now look at the facts of the matter that we know now. They said Nkwabaja is by the roadside. I mean, the venue for the meeting is by the roadside. If you are moving from Ekagwa Batete to Nkwabaja, I think it's less than 2 kilometers. If you're moving from Ekezowole to Nkwabaja, it's less than 2 kilometers. It's just by the roadside. And this is a community facility, not government facility. Now, what the local government chairman said, he said that he advised Ibezi not to have the meeting there because there were security issues around the area. Now, in the area he's talking about security issues, from every known fact, we do not know of any security challenge in that very area. Now, take this to the bank. If you go to that Nkwabaja, it has CCTV cameras mounted everywhere. So that's the one good thing there now. That from what happened, that CCTV camera is going to help us to establish, or going to help those who are going to investigate, to establish those who actually came there. If anybody,
I hope it's not tampered
if anybody is going to be in denial, because if you look at the video, you see that those security men that came with guns, none of them was wearing Agunechemba uniform. Some of them were even wearing shorts. That is, to even start with,
somewhere
they went there
from that video, I think,
improperly dressed. So a whole lot of things have to be established from that very thing. So having said this, Tony talked about the local government chairman trying to overshoot his power, which he actually did. And he talked about people asking the governor to intervene. From what I know from deep source, I know calls had been exchanged, even from the side of the mayor to the governor, from the side of the governor to the mayor, from Ifeanyi Bezi to the governor, because at the end of the day, that meeting held there, After they did that disruption in the morning, later in the evening it held because the likes of Okemwaro, Ikebatete, they all intervened, and that hall was open, and they had everything later in the evening. So the whole thing now is how leaders in ABGA have to come in to intervene. In as much as you can't tell them how to go about their businesses, but when it comes to playing by the rules, I believe that when it comes to politics, it's all about a matter of going to the grassroots to test your popularity. Everybody should be given that fair playing field to test their popularity. If you think you're popular, go to the field and test. After all, they said it's going to be direct primary or consensus. So whatever is the system that is going to be adopted, everybody should have that fair playing field. Then when you have a chairman who is in office and he believes because he is in the office, he has to use his power the other way. And that made me even to ask questions. Why are those who are in power always concerned with how to misuse power? A local government chairman from Abatete, he's from Umulichi. If I'm busy from Abaja, and maybe if you go to Abatete now, he might not point out to any tangible thing he has done, but he's so much concerned about, how to muzzle people. I don't know why. I don't know why people power intoxicates the way it does to us.
Perhaps how is this said? Power intoxicates, absolute power intoxicates absolutely.
I don't know why, because there are lots of things he could do. I don't know if he has done any kind of intervention on primary healthcare in Abatete, but they are so much concerned about who is going to control power, who is going to decide who gets party ticket or not. It's quite unfortunate. And then for Agunechemba, I don't know why it's always like this. Just call one or two persons, give them small money, give them alcohol, and boom, they are off to go and do the bidding of one man. So why would it be this very way? I thought there is a central command and control center in Oka that's supposed to supervise these very operations. And from what happened in Abatete and then what happened in Oka, that's why we keep on hammering that there is need for good oversight on the function of these very people, because these people went to do the bidding of a local government chairman because they know that they are going to get protection. If not, why would somebody call you for an illegal duty and you go there even to the point of shooting a federal officer because they show policemen?
Yeah.
So from what I gathered, AIG is already involved in the case, and he might be going to Abatete today to go and find out more about what happened.
The truth is, just like I said, the local government chairman has no immunity. For me, if not for the fact that he's being the office is being respected, by now he ought to have been invited by the police, and the investigation opened up. Yes, remember that there is abuse in most places, but you have to checkmate abuse. I've said it many times. Among Kurumaka, Mbabu, Halogo. When you say because of abuse, you won't do this, you won't do that. It's more like in Mbabu, Hapo, Ogo, Equasilino. No, the point I'm trying to make is this: we have established everything. Just like I said, the young man that did what he did, he may not have acted alone. There could be those who pushed him into this. And I looked at some media aides to the Idemili South local government mayor. They were all in support of what this young man, the mayor of Idemili North, did. All the media aides. And that tells you that the two mayors may have worked together. I'm not trying to implicate anybody, but I'm saying, from what I know, the aides to the local government chairman of Idemili South, they did this. And conversations may have been established, and probably he may have been wrongly advised by those who felt that this is the best way to outwit this young man. And I keep saying something: power is transient, ephemeral, temporal, for every reason. And whatever you do while in power, that's exactly what you'll be remembered for. This debt will not leave this young man anytime. This will be used to appraise his political journey, because once he's done with local government mayoralship, definitely he may want to aspire for another thing.
Actually, I beg to differ, because we know that political trajectory in this country has little or nothing on politicians. As a matter of fact, if it were anything to go by, a lot of persons in political offices will have no chance.
We are talking about Anambra State. Anambra State wears a different political outlook. And if you dare to bring a candidate that has dent trust the people of Anambra State. I'm not talking about Nigeria. I'm talking about Anambra State. So the issue is just like I said earlier on. The young man has questions to answer. Why he did what he did? Because it's, for me, prima facie evidence report we've got shows clearly he abused his power. You don't use Agunechemba to settle political scores.
Okay.
That's not what I meant for.
Okay.
That's not what I meant for.
Over the weekend also, Agunechemba was also used to supposedly restore calm. I use supposedly because if you are sent to restore calm to a place where people supposedly or allegedly having a meeting, a Kegite meeting. Kegite is a social club, for the want of a better word.
Yeah.
One known, they have their meetings to the best of our knowledge in daytime, their gyration and everything. And so a facility owner, I'd like to think they didn't just come into the hall, must have paid to use that hall. And a facility owner says they are quite noisy. Restore calm. The way they went about it, I'm pretty sure you must have seen those videos. And so it also raises the question, their rules of engagement and their modus operandi, there's something fundamentally wrong, Tony.
Definitely.
Really, really wrong.
Of course, we must appreciate the fact that Agunechemba has done great work in Anambra State. Honestly speaking, that the state is the most secure state in the entire country. Give it to Agunechemba. You must also appreciate the fact that these people have busted over 63 camps. You can also agree with me that Agunechemba has made a number of arrests. Those who killed Dora Akunyili's husband and other people, they have testified. Agunechemba, they have gone to Ashala, the camp in Ashala, the camps around the Urumba North, Urumba Axis. They have done greatly. The truth is that those who manage Agunechemba will begin to look at these people. Now, we are told that there was a Kegite gathering somewhere in one of the hotels in Oka, and we know Ikegites to be this social, more like social club that sing gyrations, that speak all manner of languages, carried and uncarried. For those who carried, they know what that means. But they booked a hall for their meeting. From what I was told, the hall they booked was for their meeting, not for their gyration. And along the line, while they were holding their meeting, they started gyration, disturbing other users of the hotel. And even when they were told by the hotel management that you don't make noise here, that there are people who are also having their meetings, you cannot use your own meeting to disrupt other people's meeting. Where your right begins is where your right, or other people's where your right stops be where the other people's right begins. But these people, because they have taken palm wine and all these things they usually take, they were in their gyration spirits. The management of the hotel now felt that they need to restore sanity, and they went and called Agunechemba to take them out of the hotel. But when they called Agunechemba operatives to take them out of the hotel, that they were constituting nuisance, public disorder, and other things that they were told Agunechemba, and they saw these things themselves. And now, what happened? Where people were talking against is the modus operandi. How did they conduct their operation to ensure that those Kegites leave that very area?
Because Tony, let me also add this very question. Because from what you just said, that it was the owner of the hotel. The hotel in question is the Picasty Hotel, close to Crunchies, if by the expressway, just very close there. So if the hotel CEO or the hotel manager was the one who invited Agunechemba to come and dislodge this very guy because they were making noise, what were they thinking by the time they agreed to give them their facility for their meeting? Because I do not know of any Kegite meeting that they go for without having gyration.
All right. Now, from the look of things, because from those who were close to the owner said that they said they were holding meeting. And then from the look of things, when you say you are holding meeting, it's expected that it's going to be meeting, no gyration. And of course, they handed the guidelines of the hotel, because most hotels, if you are to use their halls, they will give you their guidelines, as in expected rules. Most times they paste it on the wall, that these are things, do's, you don't smoke, you don't do this, you don't do that. You see the rules pasted. And in fact, in the guidelines, you'll be told that if you violate any of this, that police or security operatives will be called upon. It's pasted there. So the management is saying that the rules they handed to them is what they followed. And in fact, it is pasted on the wall of the hall meeting that if you violate this, that the security operatives will be called upon. These things were handed to them. But just like Franklin said, if you had a prior knowledge about these people, how they operate, if you had denied them the chance or the whole thing, they will call on other, government agencies to say that you denied them this, even when you did not establish that they were. How would you know that they were going to make noise?
No. What I'm saying, it's just like somebody going to defecate. Of course, while you're defecating, you know that there is every chance that somebody is going to fart, right? So for Kegite, wherever they assemble, they are associated with noise because they must surely gyrate.
And they have to, in that case, I understand.
And funny enough, they came with equipment, the bongos and what have you not. And so the hotel that gave out the facility, that's what I said. What were they thinking when they are giving out that they will come for meeting and it will be a silent zone like somebody died?
I hope they get sued.
For Kegite, right?
The hotel.
The truth is this. If you look at it, the point is, did Ikegites violate the hotel rule? The answer is yes, because the hotel has their rule. Now, Franklin is trying to preempt the hotel. They couldn't have given them the space, knowing fully well that these people are associated with noise. That's what he's trying to say. But more like being preemptive.
Let me ask you something, Tony. These same facilities are used for weddings.
For what?
Weddings.
Okay.
And wedding DJs, let's not play.
Okay.
You don't have a hall and tell me you want to control noise.
Okay.
That is why some facilities, they have their hall far or not in the same building as the hotel, as the rooms.
Yeah.
Right? So there are facilities, and some of them now go as far as having noise, the kind of facility that just the way the studio is, noise cancelling, or I don't know, that shouldn't be the word, but it has a way of containing noise, within the room where it's being made and all of that. Soundproof, that's the word. Yeah. And so you do not have a facility that is soundproof. Make it make sense how you rent out your facility, and then you want to there are certain rules like no smoking, no hard drugs, but music. Unless there is something we are not being told. And again, please hold on, give me a second. And again, the Dogachi men that came in, I ask again, is this how to go about? Because we saw them using plank on people. We saw them being destructive, Tony.
Now, I'm telling you that the issue is the modus operandi, not invitation of Udogachi. How they conducted either dislodging those people or asking them to go out. For me, it was totally unprofessional. But for the hotel, it has every right. If you are disturbing other users of hotel in a manner that you've been warned. You talked about wedding. Everybody knows that wedding is a civic, gathering. And we know very well the DJs, their music, of course, is more oddly. And we know that weddings, you can't come for wedding at night. No hotel will give you a wedding and ask you that you will conduct that wedding at night. They would ask you, it's going to be day. By 4 or 5 p.m., everybody has gone. But where you come for Kegite, because at night, that's where the hotel people make more bookings, at night, not during the day. So when the Kegites were having their stuff, and then maybe they started by 4 p.m., and if care is not taken, it is going to be all night. But that's not the issue. The issue is Agunechemba, when they arrived there, how did they ask those people, please, can you reduce their noise? That these management, and what did the management of the hotel tell them? Did you just tell them, just take them off? If that was instruction, for me, it's wrong. Because the first thing would have been, once they come there, they will be asked to bring down the noise that other people are using the hotel at that time. There are those who have come back to rest in the evening. But swinging on them, trying to do whatever they did according to the story you narrated, for me is totally wrong, totally unprofessional, and it's not acceptable.
Right.
But most importantly is the fact that Ikegites, knowing fully well that your association, you can't go to hotel at evening, maybe evening time, because people use that hotel at that point.
Tony, I've seen people who hold party. My first party as an undergraduate in Norca.
It depends on the hotel anyway.
It was in the hotel, right?
Yeah.
When we had our week then, Mascon week,
yeah.
it was in the hotel. We used the hall, And the noise in that very hall not be here. People were still lodged in the hotel. So people were at the pool enjoying themselves. So what I'm saying in essence is this: anybody who runs that kind of facility knows what is involved. Anybody can book it. And at the point of that very booking, once you're giving access to your facility by any kind of group, you have an idea of what they are known for. So because where the issue is all about now is, I think where the issue now is, from what we saw in the video, it was destruction. And from what I saw in the video, I also saw that some property of the hotel were destroyed. So if the case was that it was the hotel owner or manager who invited them, then we need more answers, because Kegite people need to answer us. Then the owner of the hotel needs to answer us. Udogachi too needs to answer us. Okay. So they need to speak so that we get to know the fact of the matter.
Another thing is, if they were found with drugs, substances, and all that, so we need to hear from every party to that case, because if you ask now, they may tell you that they were found with some drugs
right there,
and then Indian hemp, which you don't even use in those places.
Some commercials now. We'll be right back to take a look at what's happening politically. NDC has offered Obi Kwankwaso 2 weeks to decide on whether they are joining the party or not. Remember that nominations and everything concerning it are supposed to be ending by the 30th of May. And also, Makinde is under fire for what he said in Ibadan. Keep it locked.
You're listening to Udala Radio 104.7 FM. Seriously authentic.
When you think of roofing, think of strength. When you think of durability, think of beauty. And when you think of all three combined, think Best Aluminium MFG Limited. At Best Aluminium, we don't just manufacture roofing sheets. We create protection, comfort, and style for your home and business. Whether you're building from scratch or repairing an old roof, we have exactly what you need. Our products include stone-coated roofing sheets, aluminum roofing sheets, and colored roofing sheets. But that's not all. We also offer residential and commercial roofing services, roof repairs, gutters, emergency roofing services, and even durable cookwares that bring quality to your kitchen. Visit us today at 30/32 Anyika Street, Awada Obosi, Anambra State, or call us right now on 0806 416 2374 or 0706 059 6203. Are you smart, confident, and ready to earn big? Do you have a passion for sales and marketing? Then listen up. Udala Radio 104.7 FM is calling on ambitious, result-driven individuals to join our team as marketers. No limits, no boundaries, just results and rewards. Work at your own pace, meet amazing clients, and grow your income. Sell it, share it, earn your way. Join Udala Radio and start today. Interested? Visit our station today at number 5 Okono Street, Onitsha, or call 0803-350-4206 or send your CV to udalaradio@gmail.com. Don't wait. Your success story starts here. Udala Radio 104.7 FM. Seriously authentic.
Udala Radio 104.7 FM.
You're listening to the Polity. Get involved now.
Before we proceed on to political matters, we understand now from our intelligence reports that Udogachi officials who had visited that hotel in Oka said they got an intelligence report that those were secret cults. That was a secret cult gathering.
Cult members,
some of them were cult members. But
that.
Again, I ask again, what happens to arresting them? Because dispersing them doesn't stop the proliferation of secret cults.
And then assaulting, brigandage, near-main, beating with stick, that is anachronistic. That is a cake. You can't just do that to substantiate the fact that these people were suspected members of secret courts. The law says get them round up, get them arrested without any form of torture, without form of dehumanization, without any form of brigandage, and then definitely hand them over to the police for prosecution if you think they are members of secret courts.
Okay, so we are moving on to politics now. We're going to be joining two political issues. The Operation Wetie's statement, which means wet him or her, of Makinde in Ibadan over the weekend, and the move by the Nigerian Democratic Congress. Let me take it a step back. Makinde made a statement at an opposition summit that had people from the PDP, the ADC, and other political parties. All right. And Tony, we're going to be taking a look at what Makinde said and how it's been interpreted as a call for violence. Now, you just go in and tell us about this Wetie. I understand it happened prior to the civil war, and it was in reaction to the outcome of an election where people up the southern part of the country, there in Ibadan, actually started there in Ibadan, doused people who were of the opposition in petrol and set them on fire, set their properties on fire. That must have been a very gruesome time for Nigerians who witnessed it. So it was like Makinde saying, with the way the ruling party is going about treating opposition, they shouldn't forget that Operation Wetie started here in Ibadan. Now, I'm not quoting him. I am kind of interpreting what he said. And we don't have so much time to go play the 8-minute long video where he actually started from the part of talking to the opposition about the way they are going about it, the ruling party rather, about the way they're treating opposition, and then he made the Wetie statement. Now, also, we understand that the Nigeria Democratic Congress, NDC, has appealed to Peter Rabiu, Kwankwaso, to join the NDC and contest the 2027 elections. In a post on X on Sunday, the party hinted a 2-week window for Obi and Kwankwaso to join its platform and secure the presidential ticket. According to the statement, it said, all we need right now, just all we need, 2 weeks to deadline, the party wrote. We also understand that the party featured a picture of Obi shaking hands with Kwankwaso with the caption, Nigeria will be okay. So what do you think? Do you see this happening? And then let's talk about it.
Well, let's begin with what Makinde say in Ibadan about Operation Wetie, and for those who may want to know more about that Operation Wetie. Well, let's begin by his statement, and I'm going to find a way to put him verbatim so that we get the context of his statement before we begin our statement. And then for what we gathered, Makinde's exact quotes, and let me quote him, for those that are carrying on as if there is no tomorrow, they should remember that Operation Wetie started from here. This is the same wide west, because that's another name for Operation Wetie. If you don't call it Operation Wetie, you call it wide west. And then he also added the context about Ibadan's historical role in Nigerians politics, referencing the 1950 constitutional conversations. And he went further to warn that democracy is weakened gradually when opposition becomes ineffective, or when there is an attempt to consolidate legislative control under one party. Now, that's his statement, and that has also sparked arguments across different political divides. Many people are talking about that very memory he tried to provoke, which he has done. He has provoked that very memory, and people are talking about it. We know very well that Operation Wetie, or that's a Yoruba word. Operation Wetie means soak somebody in petrol,
wet,
and then
like wet him or wet her, soak him or her in petrol.
There is a Yoruba language for it. It's not an English anyway. It's a Yoruba language. Because I know very well that it was as a result of primarily the political tension, the political violence that took place in Western region during the First Republic, especially around the disputed Western regional elections of October 11, 1965, and extended into early 1966. In fact, the epicenter, the starting point, that's the Ibadan, which was the capital of the old Western region, and currently the capital of Oyo State. I remember that it spread to other parts of the western region, Abeokuta, Obomocho, Ijebode, Gege, Ilecha, Ekiti areas, even Ondo areas, and other towns and communities across the region. But it was as a result of the political differences between Akintola, Ladoke, and Obafemi Awolowo. Both of them were political allies from 1951, before Action Group was formed. And remember, Awolowo was the founder of Action Group, and the Ladoke Akintola was his able deputy when that was formed. And to interest you that Awolowo became the premier of Western region on that very platform. But in 1959, he decided to go federal, just as Zeke did, to go to the federal parliament. And then, naturally, he would hand over to his deputy to continue the gains. That was where Ladoke Akintola became the premier of the Western region. But the tension started in 1962 as a premier, because Awolowo believed in welfareism, free education, free health, everything free, like basic necessities of the people. That's what Awolowo, that is his own political ideology. But Akintola Ladoke, as the premier, who inherited such premiership from Awolowo, felt that it is better to align with the center. And also, at the same time, he was conservatives in these ideologies Awolowo professed. He was very conservative. In fact, he professed conservatism. That's what he professed. And also intent to align to the center, to attract more benefit, to attract more dividends, as we currently see in most political developments in our own polity now. But Awolowo was strongly opposed to aligning to the center, because he thought that Action Group would be a strong opposition, and it would make a lot being a strong opposition as against weakened opposition as we have by aligning to the center. And that really caused a lot of drama, tension between these two men. And the whole thing started at the Western Region House of Assembly, where there was physical fight. They were fighting, punching themselves, hitting themselves, because the whole parliament was divided between the followers of Awolowo and followers of Akintola. And they engaged themselves in. He find out that anything Akintola brings, those against him in the parliament will not support it, and those in favor of Akintola will fight those that are in support of it. Before you know it, there was this treason charge. Awolowo was arrested by the government of Abubakar Tafawa Balewa. He arrested Awolowo, and Awolowo was charged for treason, and he was convicted. He was sentenced to prison. And Ladoke Akintola continued. Now he held the supreme leadership of that very Action Group. But where it matters most was in 1965 election. That was where, before then, Ladoke, Akintola had formed his own political party. He had even left the Action Group for Awolowo and his cohorts, and he formed his own party, NDP. But what triggered it was the election was massively rigged, because they won almost everything. The NDDP won so much to the chagrin of Action Group. They could not believe it. Action Group did not accept the election of the result of 1965 election, and that was what triggered that very wide west allegations of massive election rigging, thuggery, power struggles. A lot of them said no, they would not take this. It became Operation Wetie, from the Yoruba expression meaning wet him, suck him, and before you know it, they started burning every places.
So what do you make of Makinde making reference to it? Is that like a threat of, like, the baboons? What was it? How was it?
Baboons and monkeys will soak in blood if elections were rigged.
The dots in a circle, people would go back in body bags. Isn't this in the same line? Of
course. If you look at it, Makinde was trying to remind the government in power they should have a look at what happened in 1965, which extended into 1966, and he reminded them that he started here in Ibadan. Ibadan, remember, was the capital of the western region, and he let them know that if elections were to be rigged, that it's going to be Operation Wetie, that it will not be acceptable. But people were saying, don't use violence to disprove election results. Operation Wetie used violence to reject results, believing that that's not the way to go. But we know why these rhetorics become more commonly used. We have seen those who used it. Let me tell you about El-Rufai's statement. El-Rufai said that there are those in money bags, they will go home in body bags. There's a way he said it. If you remember El-Rufai's statement, and he said this thing before the 2019 election. He said it before 2019 general election. He was reminding both those who are foreign media personnel and those who would come to monitor elections that if they don't do what is expected of them, that they will go home in body bags. And recall Chibike Amechi's statement prior to 2015 election, that if election of 2015, if that election were rigged, they will form parallel government. That's what Amechi said, that they will form parallel government. He was warning the government of Jonathan, and they were the opposition. And in fact, if you look around, you find out that the one of El-Rufai made that statement not as an opposition, but he was in power as at that time. Amechi made his own as an opposition, that if elections were rigged, that they will form a parallel government. Buhari made his own as an opposition, that if elections were rigged, that baboons and monkey will be sucking blood.
So we keep making such
you
statements?
See these statements, APC started it. Because if you look at these statements we all talked about, Amechi was in APC at that time. Buhari was in APC at that time. And then the last person, El-Rufai, was in APC at that time when these statements were made. And it was condoned. Now, Makinde has made his own. That they should, as a matter of fact, remember what happened in 1965. Just like I said, for me, because I wouldn't say because statements were made, those who made these statements, when they made it, and these statements were condoned and all that, I would not support the fact that we will use violence to disapprove, to disavow, to reject. I will not support that. I will not support that, because if you look at what happened after the Wetie whatever, that was what also triggered the first coup d'etat, the first coup we had in this country. Remember, it was as a result of multiple factors. You talked about the pogrom in the north, you talked about the disquiet in the western region, you talked about a lot of things. These things came together, and the military felt that the time is right for them to take over power. And the Makinde could also be suggesting to something like that in a low tone, because we know what followed Operation Wetie. What followed it was military coup. Let's be real. So we would not sit down and remember sad agony, the sad development, such agony, and then pride ourselves to use it to equate whatever we believe we can use to. No, I don't support that.
All right then. Quickly speak on the NDC offer, Obi versus Kwankwaso.
What? The deadline is 30th of April. By
30th of May.
30th of
May for nomination.
May, yes, that's 30th of May, because we're talking about nomination, and then parties submitting their register. It's 30th of April. In the last I checked, and if parties submit their register, in fact, May you are talking about. If by 30th of April, the party must have submitted his register. And if Obi is not a member of the register, how can he come?
How can he be?
No, he cannot. So the deadline is 30th of April. Where parties are expected to submit their registers, and it can only be a member of a party. If your name is not found in the register, you cannot contest for any position on the platform of the party. I have said it many times that.
But this because as it stands now, and the NDC is cutting Obi and Rabiu Kwankwaso, and looking at the configuration in the ADC, where people are suggested that it might be a party for Atiku, but some persons still believe that Obi and Co have chance. And from every permutation we have seen, it seems like there are people who have adopted Obi Kwankwaso ticket, and they think that that's the best thing for the opposition party. This very cutting by NDC, do you think that is something Obi should consider when he still has the window, or he should stay in the ADC and fight the battle?
For me, he should stay in ADC. You know why? Because if you look at the the summit we are talking about, recall that the essence of the summit was for the. If you look at the communique issued at the end of the summit, they say that they are planning to field one candidate, because that summit was summit of all opposition parties in Nigeria.
Can we say it was actually, or it was a summit by different blocks within the opposition?
Exactly.
Because Accord Party, a block in Accord Party was there.
A block in ADC
was there. A block in PDP was there.
The entire PDP.
And we have seen some other members of these parties even questioning
exactly
their
decisions
of what happened at that very summit.
Remember, there are some blocks that would also adopt President Tinubu. They say they are opposition. If you look at PDP block that was there, the block is the one opposing to President Tinubu. The one that was not there was the one aligning with President Tinubu.
So isn't it a shame that they are here blaming the APC for what is happening to the opposition, and there they are balkanized across party lines, across adoption lines now, Tony?
Because if you look at it, they think that party is not the issue. What is the issue is they call the election to be between Nigerians and the president. That's not what they call the election. And if you look at Mr. President's statement, which I still have here, I don't know, we have played it earlier on, but because of time, the president said that the primary that got him here was tough. Yes, the primary that got him here was tough. And then the election that made him president was tough. And now, it is a done deal. It's a done deal. Oh, you think, leave, it's a done deal. That's the president. That's what he said. That
said he wasn't going to allow himself be bullied.
No. Yes, he went further to say that he will not be intimidated, he will not do this. But he said it's a done deal. What is that deal? That has been completed and then finalized. It's a fiat accompli. That's what Mr. President said.
We'll have to be thin. Let's take a break now. Some more commercials. Once we come back, the phone lines will be open. Keep it locked. Go drop your comments on Facebook, like, share, and follow Udala Radio 104.7 FM.
You're listening to Udala Radio 104.7 FM. Seriously authentic.
The land is green.
For too long, realtors have walked alone. No structure, no protection, no unified voice. That era ends now. Welcome to the Realtors Summit 2026, a historic gathering that will redefine real estate in Anambra and Asaba. The Anambra Asaba Realtors Association, a platform for unity, influence, and collective power. And beyond that, a Realtors Welfare Initiative built to support you when it matters most. Strengthen your career and secure your future in the industry. At this summit, you'll discover smarter ways to close and scale, multiple income channels in real estate, and strategies that move you from hustle to ownership and authority. Featuring Dr. Tony Olisa Mbeki of Udala FM, Lovelin Chinenye Nana, Property Boss, and Mr. Jude Igwebike, IT Professional. Date 2nd May 2026. Time 11 a.m. Venue 5-star Restaurant Hall, Stock Exchange, Onitsha. This is not for everyone, but for realtors who are ready to rise. For inquiries, call 0803 276 0653. This summit is free, powered by Nebek Real Estate Limited.
It's green.
Lounge, a calm, classy environment to chill, hang out, and unwind. Perfect for friends, dates, and after work relaxation. Chop well, drink well, and feel cool morning, afternoon, and night. Stanley SFF Restaurant and Operatives Lounge, a haven for good food, great vibes, top security, and steady comfort. For further inquiry, call 0814 565 6920 or 0813 855 8009.
Quality bread, Wendy's bread, for your family breakfast. Wendy's bread, Opa kitchen they do yellow. Wendy's bread, Mama Papa they like Wendy's bread, kitchen and do. Wendy's bread, even children they like Wendy's bread, Wendy's bread, and in town. Wendy's bread, you get it better tasty, we go sweet your belly. Wendy's bread, Wendy's your battery choma. Wendy's bread,
Wendy's bread, tasty bread. You can contact us on our official address, 2nd Business Park, Enugu Road, GRA, beside Onitsha, Anambra State. We also have another branch at St. Michael Plaza at Tandy Road. Also contact us on 070-1149-1571. Wendy's bread, your tasty bread.
Wendy's bread.
Ilu bụ mmanụ ndị Igbo ji eri okwu. Igbo proverbs, words of wisdom passed down through generations. Geenụ ntị. Igwe bụ ike. Multitude is strength. There's power in community. 104.7 Udala Radio. Are you smart, confident, and ready to earn big? Do you have a passion for sales and marketing? Then listen up. Udala Radio 104.7 FM is calling on ambitious, result-driven individuals to join our team as marketers. No limits, no boundaries, just results and rewards. Work at your own pace, meet amazing clients, and grow your income. Sell it, share it, earn your way. Join Udala Radio and start today. Interested? Visit our station today at number 5 Okono Street, Onitsha, or call 0803-350-4206 or send your CV to udalaradio@gmail.com. Don't wait. Your success story starts here. Udala Radio 104.7 FM. Seriously authentic.
You're listening to the Polity. Get involved now.
It's your turn to get involved. Put a call across the 0803-221-6973, 0803-827-6694. Those are the numbers to call. You can drop your comment on Facebook. You have 2 minutes. Be as objective as possible. Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
Yes, good morning.
Good morning, Franklin. Good morning, my Chief Speaker, Honorable Tony Olisambeki.
You're welcome. It's good to have
you. The voice of Honorable Idenze, Mayor. Okutukume JP, Ukulola, Osetumbezeneke, I would have known it. My text this morning is, first of all, to be frank with you, when I was hearing about Kegite, I was thinking that they are one confraternity or fraternity or the other that are flying colors, like secret society, like those people are. But I don't know that they are just a social club that dilates. But what I want to say in NS, our people, our security men, even the police, the way they handle issues is not done. Like this Akodo people that was created in Anambra State. When you, as the law of the country says, if somebody is not tried and convicted, he's not yet. He has not committed that crime. For now, you see, when security comes, they will start beating, using plankers, even guns. Those things are lawless. And I want something to be done about that issue. Now you see what happened between Ifan Basin and so on and so forth. So Zambeki, this justifies you that you say that local government autonomy, complete autonomy, that there will be problem and that. See what this young mayor did. It is uncalled for. So I want to caution our security men. They are doing fine. But in terms of the way they handle people, it is not right. Even the police, when you just do this small thing like that, they will start beating. Instead of arresting you, prosecute you and jail you if you are guilty. Thank you and God bless you all.
Thank you for your contribution. Let's stick to the 2 minutes mark, please. Good morning.
Good morning, everyone in the studio.
Good morning.
I am Godim Eziapakego, warming the airwaves from Osmoro.
Go ahead, please.
That merger, coming together, conglomeration, or whatever the name may sound like, by other political parties against APC is dead on arrival. It cannot work on paper. It looks so solid, but it is nothing in realism and in reality. It cannot work in this country. Because of what? Nigeria is built on divergent value systems, which can never ever work. Let me shock you. Do you know that people wanted to go to the OAU grounds to deliver his lecture, and he is bad from coming there? You see, there are so many things that are working
making Nigeria not work. Nepotism, tribalism, partisanship, not the welfare of Nigeria and the progress of Nigeria. Because of divergent value system in this country, somebody can call somebody an arena. Arena will not rule us. That is the problem of P2B in this country. Not that the P2B is not a good man. There is no position in this country that is can be equated with the P2B. And just like every other persons who are good, but P2B remains exceptional. But we cannot rule Nigeria because of a divergent value system. Unless that is put aside, which is, it cannot work in Nigeria. It will not work. Coming together, trying to outwit Yorubas, Barabe, English, Marina, the houses, these things cannot make Nigeria work and see the light of the day. Good morning, my dear people.
Thank you. Good morning. Good morning.
Hello.
Yes, good morning.
Good morning. My name is George. Calling from Asaba.
Go ahead, George.
Yeah, I'm talking about the issue of the Kegite. You see, like what you said, I expected the Kegite to sue that hotel because as much you know, the Kegite are not the violent organization. But I call my uncle that has been so many years. You will remember what I said 50 years ago. He was a member and a very strong member. That even the day that the person, they came to the area. So we understand them as non-violent groups. So this they say that a push that forbid bag don't produce motion. So if you know that you don't like somebody in your hotel, why give them the help? There's nobody on this side will tell me that you understand that the guys who want to do something in your hotel and they will make noise. That is a big lie for the people of air. They must make noise because they must go with a fan and the instruments. They are about the SKL is all about the direction. What kind of comfort do you expect that they will do in your hotel that will be? You saw the video, they say, I saw. They say, I saw the story and just are complaining about this state police. Because imagine the one that happened in Oka and what happened with the local government chairman. The same group of people. When we about now that we have that state police that we're talking about, that means there will be a big crash all over the place. Let us take out to your government so that they would let us to know what the reason and what was given them to call normally people who go to bar and start drinking and start making noise. I said the same again that people that come to the hotel are ready to all. Like I'm associating there's a person I'm associating with Nasamaye. There's someone who do it. There's somebody who come to Cuba to do that day. There's a time we reach. We give you time that is the time that our customer normally sleep because the Cuba is the back of your hotel. This is the normal time our customer normally sleep. So what is that time? Every birthday party is so bad. So we let you before let's see the put my heart for you. So you can tell me that you tell me all this thing and at the end of the day, not call the guy. What else that you don't that people give me to that place? Well, what is the way plan? People, imagine the mentality of Nigeria. These people will share, these people will still be doing them. The same people will still talking in the Facebook. Good morning.
Good morning. Hello there. Are you there? Hello?
Hello, good morning.
Yes, good morning.
Yeah, good morning, Pastor. Good morning, Mr. Speaker.
You're welcome, Mr. Speaker.
Yeah, my name is Honorable Onitsha, calling from Okobole, in Delta State. I want to talk on the issue of what transpired between the family and local government chairman and Agunechemba. For me, I keep on saying that in this country, we really abuse two major things in this country, which is power. When you give somebody power, you misuse it. Then when you give somebody gun, he still misuse it. It is two major things that we normally abuse in this country, and that is one of the problems we're facing in this country. Okay, now, local government chairman, just a local government chairman, is now deciding who hold a meeting or who hold a conference in his own local government, just a local government chairman. Now going with a thought or going with an Agunechemba to attack whoever, that there somebody or someone lost his life in that now. What they say will call it accidental discharge or what. So the truth is that this country, we are really abusing guns, and this is one of the problems we're facing. We are clamoring for state policing. Then, assuming this is a typical of what is going to happen, if we have the state policing, if we did not harness it in a very normal way, that the local government chairman or a governor will not make use of them to intimidate the others. Now, just a local government chairman, they are now trying to assume that we will have a state policing. So what will happen? They will use it in the night. They will just come and arrest somebody and they'll just kill the person. Nobody will talk. So that really idea is a very, very long one. And I think that I hope that the governor of Anambra State will not support that idea. And that young man needs to cut on board. You know, if the effort to prosecute him, let them prosecute him because he's just a local government chairman. He cannot just be taking power by your hands. And there is something Mr. Speaker said. He said that this kind of a thing will hurt his political career in future. So you need to, some people say, all these are young men that are coming up to politics and they are doing society, and the people are pushing you to do some certain things. Remember, they are trying to hurt your political career in future as well. This kind of thing that happened, whether 5 years or 6 years to come, one day somebody will remind him, this is thing that happened during your tenure as a local government chairman. So whatever they do, somebody is doing, and they have the privilege to be in the corridor of power. Don't see that they are the final saying, or see that nobody will their life again, or that it is after God, it is you. No, it is just a privilege for you to serve. And when you are approaching human beings, approach them with the face of humanity. Know that these people are a human being like you, and after 3 or 4 years, you will resign as well and be another human being like them. Then what if somebody treats you the way you are treating them today? Will you be happy? So I think I'm just calling on Governor of Anambra State for him to come up and sanction this local government chairman so that this kind of thing will not happen again.
All right, thank you very much. Thank you. Don't forget, we're live on Facebook, Udala Radio 104.7 FM. Your call should come to 0803-221-6973 or 0803-827-6694. Hello, good morning.
Good morning to you, Susan Tinubu.
Good morning.
Good morning to you, Franklin and Tony Lizombeki.
You're welcome.
Yes, voice of Wisdom from Osaka. You see, coming to this issue between the Agunechemba and the people of Kegite. You see, I want to use this medium to call onto the governor of Anambra State or anybody that can get close to him and tell him this. The way and manner the people of Agunechemba or India code on this station or whatever they are called, the way they go around with the activities, I don't know, they act like punks. They don't act like people that are well scrutinized. They don't act like people that pass through some kind of, how am I going to put it right now, some kind of lesson or lecture or scrutiny. No. They just act like punks. They just go around, harass people, whip people with whatever they can, whatever they're with, tax people the way they want, harass people, fight with them because they got the weapon, but people don't have the weapon. There's no doubt that many of our people are crazy. But you don't need because of that to harass anybody you see on the road. Maybe you see that somebody is killing themselves on the road or doing whatever on the road they're not supposed to. You now use because of that and start treating the person as if the person is not even a human being. It's not reasonable. Even if the person is an animal. There's a way you treat an animal. You don't treat an animal, just as if they don't have a single life in them. And that is what these people are doing. I have a person that went to Anambra a few weeks ago, and the way and manner he was being taxed because he crossed the road. He never knew that he was not supposed to cross the road. Now he crossed the road. They went and started taxing him. Some were holding akodo, some were holding knife. What are you holding knife for? Go you to live. Only to live. Only to live akodo. I don't understand. Like the madness was going out of hand. spread out. Some were paying 10,000, some were paying 5,000, some were releasing 7,000, some were releasing some people there were dropping their phones. I was like, the madness was unbearable. Why can't they put a signboard there, showing that people are not supposed to cross, are not supposed to cross it? Because what the actions is just like they were waiting for some people to cross. Let them give the opportunity to take money from them. I think these people need to be called to order. The actions, the ways of activities, it is so unreasonable. It is just like what is being displayed by Ndabo. Ouch! People that don't have sense. Please, somebody needs to talk to them.
Thank you very much. 08033876694. Those are the numbers to call. We can take 2 more calls and then we head over to Facebook. Let's hear you.
Good morning to everyone under the beat of my voice this morning. I am Honorable Oruchi calling from Treasury.
Go ahead, please.
There's no more to say, but sometimes it baffles me when I hear people saying that Udogasi, Agunechemba, Agodo, or any other agencies created by this administration that they pass through training. I used to ask myself a question: who trained them? Where were they trained? What type of training did they receive? Yes, we cannot take it away from them that there have been some benefit from their good works, so to speak. But the lapses is nothing to write home about, to be honest with you. Their excess is too much, even well too much than their good works they do. If you see them on the road driving, you ask yourself, where did these people come from? Sometimes you need to jump into gutter to hide your face for them to pass. A security agency that is supposed to protect us is now being used by the organ of government to intimidate people. This is what we are going to face. You see, this state security we are clamoring for. We all want to set police. We need it. But believe you me, if the federal government did not monitor it well, the state government is going to misuse them, just the way the local government mayors are being misusing Udogasi and Agunechemba. Look at the Kegite club. My dear, let me stop there. That's what I'm saying.
Good. Okay. We're heading over to Facebook in a bit. Franklin. Udala Radio 104.7 FM is the handle.
Okay, so let's look at the reactions we have on our Facebook page now. Okay, we'll begin with the one that came from Dr. Missimo Lebra from Obra. She says Nigerians will only have hope in democracy when unacceptable things stop happening. We have allowed evil to soar to high heavens. Nigerians now demand that the stinking table on the past be evacuated into an abyss. The stable of corruption, misgovernance, insecurity, looting, intimidation, lies, and deceit. And she says Nigerians say enough is enough with unwholesome practices in our quarters. Rotratubia Wicked Christopher, listening from Ibadan Suba, says the monster that we made with Rogachi, the rascality, brutality, and abuse of power and oversight function is increasing on a daily basis from this set of people. If we collectively don't speak up and fight against it, the likelihood of continuity is not overruled. It's against Kegite and Ibadan yesterday. Who knows who it will be tomorrow? If the government agencies that are for the protection of the people are the ones attacking the people and there's no public condemnation from the government, then it leaves much questions to be asked. Urgent actions must be taken to checkmate the work of Udogati at feet. Okay. If you talk about then let's go to Divine Uchenod. She says I think the Kegite club should be more civil when hosting their gatherings. I think getting permission from security operatives like the police and also demanding the presence of the police and other security agencies when hosting such annual events is very important to give right impression of that It is not a court gathering or initiation. He posted from Onitsha. Mr. Celestine says, this is exactly what we are going to expect. If Nigeria finally settles with state police by politicians, believe it or leave it. Secondly, someone once said that VP and deputy governor's position in Nigeria is like a spare tire. From what happened between the mayor and the deputy has just confirmed it is to be true. Which deputy are we talking about here? Okay, I think there is a misinformation there, or rather miscommunication here. Dixon Mwachis from Fego Onitsha says, what is happening in Nigeria on daily basis is what no man can describe. God's supposed to. Okay, I'm very sorry, I'm not going to read every part. John Mbwe says, when I say that Anambra State is the weakest link in the political chain of Ndibo, I'm vindicated. Just imagine the imbroglio between... Oh my goodness. Alright, so please, I think we have to do a correction here now. Some people are mistaking Ifeanyi Bezi as Onyekachuku Bezi, Deputy Governor of Anambra State. Please, it's not. Deputy Governor is Dr. Onyekachuku Ibezim. Ifeanyi Bezi is one-time House of Rep member. He's from Abatete. Dr. Ibezim is from, I think, Mbauku.
Yeah, from Mbauku.
Deputy Governor. So please, let's get this very clarification. Okay. Chielo Zia Prince says, my name is Prince, writing from Nsube. He says, my take is that... Okay, my take is on the evil that Udogachi do on people of Anambra. I'm trying to rephrase what you wrote so that it can make better meaning. Okay, so he's saying that Okay, I'm sorry, I have to paraphrase. So he's saying that he's condemning the actions of Udogachi, and he's saying there's no need in any way to defend their actions. And also ask, the people involved, are they Udogachi operatives or Agunechemba operatives? Because we always have these very misconceptions. They will tell you that Udogachi is the name of the operation they are involved in. But the security outfit itself is called Agunechemba. Then Morty C or BBK, thank you all for watching. Then Odili Aloysius says, this is why I never support the idea of state police. Just consider how common simple local government chairman, or rather, I wouldn't like to use that other one. So my apologies for using that very word you use. So he said, consider how local government chairman is using state security against someone. Consider the opponent. What should we expect when the state police is under governors and local government chairman? This is lawless country. He posted from Mobanam. Chiadikobi says, the statement from President Bola Ahmed Tinubu is an indication that all arrangements are made to bring him back to power. Julius Wenong says, he posted from Bagana. He says, I pray to be Maji's ADC presidential flag bearer. A failure to be so, ADC will lose. Master B says, Nigeria is in deep economic debt. What is the hope of a young youth again? Nigeria should quote me. I believe that should be Nigerian should quote me. The only way out of this catastrophe is to forcefully make it to be a president of Nigeria. He posted from Onitsha, okay? Then Builders NS, thank you all for the comments.
All right then, Tony, your final words.
Well, I think a majority of callers spoke about the activities of Agunechemba, just like we clarified. The operation is Udogachi, but the people involved, because if you say Operation Udogachi, they are the ones responsible. You are indicting the police, you are also indicting the military, the DSS, because they're all part of the Operation Udogachi. But they have to be very specific. Yes, the car in view goes with Operation Udogachi. We know very well that those who were asked to oversight them, what are they doing? Very important, because if you look at the Anambra State Homeland Security Law 2025, there were those penciled out to oversight them, the members of Anambra State House of Assembly, the local government chairman, the traditional rulers. These are people in the law that the law empowers to have oversight on them. Now, all these things happening, what is Anambra State House of Assembly doing as far as this is concerned? Because you have to tell any legislator that these things are happening. But my own is this: we cannot allow rascality, brutality. I'm totally against of that. The most important thing is this: each time I see them pass, there have been times I passed, I stopped them and told them, you can't be driving this way. Most times those that can speak, see them and pretend all is well. I have been speaking and I've stopped them many times. I've talked to them many times. Most times if you talk to them, they will listen. The times I've spoken to them, they listen. But the truth is, did they also go on with what I told them that should not be? Anytime you give a man power without oversight, you have created what some people may refer as monster. But we need to have oversight. Because if you say let them go, we'll go back to square one. They have done so much work. What we need to do is to fine-tune their operations to be exactly what we want.
All right, thank you, Tony. Franklin?
The truth is that any man in uniform in Nigeria believes that he's invincible, especially if there's a gun attached. There was an incident that happened in India where, the road traffic warders tried to direct a vehicle carrying soldiers. Guess what happened? They beat him blue and black. Now, coming to Dogachi and what happened, I've also read some comments suggesting that what happened in Orca was as a result of power struggle within the Kegite club. That there was a power struggle, one faction invited them to go and do this. We have had plenty of things. Then the one of allegation that they were having court activities and what have you not. These things are all out there. Everybody is alleging what they think it is. But for me, in the midst of all these things, the issue is about the mode which preached the people who went there to do whatever they went to do, did it. Whether it was for court activities, whether it was power tussle, whether it was hotel that came, the manner was so brutal and animalistic. We need to change. And I keep on saying this very thing. Anything we call security outfit, we can't allow them to operate the way they want because many of them are exposed to hard drugs. If you see the aftermath video of what happened at Nkwabaja, how those security operatives were brandishing gun and shooting into the air, you would definitely think that these guys were under influence or something.
One of them fell off from the vehicle.
So we need to have our eyes on these very guys. It's not just to give them gun. We can just imagine it. What will happen if any of them is found to have done something evil and he is dismissed? I'm thinking of the kind of threat that person can be to society. So it's high time we began to think of the way forward. Other than if we want to put up security outfit, we'll go to the villages and pick the worst of humans. No, that mindset has to change. Let's think about how do we even get the best of minds into this very system, because that's the only way we can reform. If not,
all right, then. Thank you, gentlemen, for your contribution today on the Polity. From my end,